All right, people, it's one day until the draft. Just, it sneaks up on you. So I got to make one final draft video. First, before I get to my final mock draft and the mock draft I will commit to before this draft actually happens, I want to talk about the local team and what they might do. And, obviously we don't have a pick in the first round. So it's going to be a long time before we actually get to one of our picks. So as for what happens when our second rounder comes around, I think I'm going to stick to what I've been saying before, and that is let's hope a good defensive tackle falls to our late second round pick. This draft is stocked with good defensive tackles like, Star Lotulelei, Sheldon Richardson, Sharif Floyd. They're all guys who I think will go in the top half of the first round of the draft. Sylvester Williams, I see him going in the first round, possibly Jonathan Hankins as well. And those are guys that we're not going to have a chance to get. But past those guys, I think there's some more talent. So I'm looking at three names that I would like to be there for our second round pick. They are Kawan Short out of Purdue, John Jenkins out of Georgia, and Jesse Williams out of Alabama. So I'm just going to cross my fingers and hope one of those three guys is there and we can get them. If not that, then I don't know exactly what we might do. Obviously, you always want offensive line depth, even though I think we have a really good offensive line. We could use an additional linebacker, although I don't have a name, so I'm not sure that's the direction we would want to go. Maybe a running back. I kind of feel like that's not necessarily the way you want to go, but if we get down to our second round pick and Monty Ball is still there or something like that, maybe it's a possibility because Marshawn Lynch does have some, wear on the tires. So that's what I want from tomorrow and, the rest of the draft. Later rounds, obviously the deeper you get into the draft, the more it becomes like, who cares what position you're drafting as long as you're getting, somebody who has a chance to make the team. But we need a quarterback. There are a couple names out there. If a guy like Tyler Wilson falls to the third round, great. Ryan Nassib, there are people buzzing about him. There's Mike Glennon. Those are just guys that we know about that people are talking about a little bit. And if one of them fell to our pick in the third round, that would be cool. There's EJ Manuel as well. I don't know too much about him, but obviously people are talking. So if he's down there in the third round, and I don't think he will be, maybe that, because maybe he could run our offense a little bit. But that's basically what I'm looking at from this draft from a Seahawks perspective. Now on to my final mock draft. And there was some breaking news earlier today that caused me to completely change this mock. I had to reshift it just now at basically the last second, so hopefully I didn't make any mistakes. Let's go. Number 1, Kansas City. Eric Fisher, offensive tackle, Central Michigan. A couple of news reports broke today, confirmed by multiple sources, that the Chiefs think Fisher is better than Luke Yokel. So Fisher, in spite of being from a smaller college, looks like he will be the number 1 pick, unless the Chiefs can find a trade partner for Brandon Albert. Number 2, Jacksonville Jaguars. Buzz is that they are looking to take the best player available, and in their eyes, that's probably going to be Luke Yokel. So I have them taking Luke Yokel, not a player they necessarily need, but you can always use a great offensive lineman with the number 2 pick. Number 3, Oakland Raiders, Sharif Floyd, defensive tackle out of Florida. Just a great value pick. I like Sharif Floyd a lot. Number 4, Philadelphia Eagles. This is where the draft starts to get wacky because of Fisher and Yokel going 1 and 2. There's going to be some serious pushing and shoving around at the top for the elite offensive tackle and even offensive guard prospects. So I have the Eagles taking Lane Johnson, offensive tackle, Oklahoma, a dude who has climbed the draft charts over the last couple of weeks. And I think there's a very real chance a team like the San Diego Chargers tries very, very hard to trade up. Maybe even the Baltimore Ravens try to do something, but I just don't see how that's feasible at all. Number 5, Detroit Lions, D. Milliner, cornerback, Alabama. Number 6, Cleveland Browns, Chance Warmack, offensive guard, Alabama. Number 7, Arizona Cardinals, Jonathan Cooper, offensive guard at North Carolina. First time in a very, very long time we've had an offensive guard go in the top 10. We have 2 back-to-back, number 6, number 7. I think they're that good, and I think this draft is that weak. We'll see. Number 8, Buffalo Bills, Star Lotulelei, defensive tackle out of Utah. The Bills' defense. We didn't really notice it because the Saints' defense was worse, but the Bills had an atrocious defense last year. They need an identity, and I think Star Lotulelei has a chance to be that identity. Number 9, New York Jets, Dion Jordan, outside linebacker, Oregon. I think the Jets really wanted one of the 2 offensive guards, but they will take and live with a good pass rusher because they don't have that. So I like that. Number 10, Tennessee Titans. Ezekiel Anza, defensive end, BYU. Nice pass rushing project for them. 11, San Diego Chargers. Here's a guy who has rocketed up the draft boards thanks to some of the stuff happening at the top. DJ Fluker, offensive tackle out of Alabama. I had him in the 20s, but circumstances pushed him up. Number 12, Miami Dolphins, Jarvis Jones, outside linebacker, Georgia. He's fallen a little bit in the past month or two, but I still think he's a really good player. Number 13, New York Jets. I think they wanted to get an offensive lineman out of this draft, but it might not happen. I can see the Jets being another team that trades down simply because they can't afford their high picks, but for now, Tavon Austin, wide receiver, West Virginia. Number 14, Carolina Panthers, Sheldon Richardson, defensive tackle, Missouri. They just need some run defense help, I think. Number 15, New Orleans Saints, Bjorn Werner, defensive end, Florida State. They just need the best defensive player they can get. Number 16, St. Louis Rams. I think they really wanted Tavon Austin, but they will live with Cordarrelle Patterson, wide receiver, Tennessee. Number 17, Pittsburgh Steelers, Barkvarius Mingo, OLB out of LSU. It's just a good fit. A lot of people already feel like that one's coming. It makes sense. Number 18, Dallas Cowboys. After thinking about it a little bit, I think the Cowboys are really going to try to get a player who will immediately start for them, and that may not necessarily be a defensive tackle like Jonathan Hankins because they're already paying Ratliff and Lissamore and I think Hatcher, and there's no guarantee a rookie defensive tackle would immediately start for them. So I think they go draft a guy who will immediately start for them in all likelihood, and that is Kenny Vaccaro, safety out of Texas. Number 19, New York Giants, Alec Ogletree, inside linebacker out of Georgia. You just know the Giants and the New York spotlight and Tom Coughlin want nothing to do with Monte Teo's crap. So I think they go with Ogletree. Number 20, Chicago Bears, Menelik Watson, offensive tackle out of Florida State. An example of a team that needs an offensive lineman so bad they will reach to get one. And that's what they've done here. Number 21, Cincinnati Bengals, Matt Elam, safety out of Florida. A little bit of a reach, but they do have some safety issues that need to patch up. Number 22, the St. Louis Rams, Jonathan Hankins, defensive tackle, Ohio State. Just decent value here, in my opinion, and somebody who can help with their run defense a little bit. Number 23, Minnesota Vikings, Monte Teo, inside linebacker, Notre Dame. I think it's a good place for Teo to go. I think it's a good place for him to play out the beginning of his career, and I think there's a upside potential with him that we may have forgotten about because of the recent drama. Indianapolis Colts at number 24, Sylvester Williams, defensive tackle, North Carolina. Number 25, Minnesota Vikings, Justin Hunter, wide receiver, Tennessee. They just need to take a wide receiver, and Justin Hunter, he's a guy that a lot of people are looking at as a first-round talent, so makes sense. Number 26, Green Bay Packers, an excellent value pick. This guy fell really far, and I think they're going to have to do it just because he fell this far. Xavier Rhodes, cornerback out of Florida State. Green Bay's obviously a team that could use a lot of help on the offensive line, but it's not to be in this first round. Number 27, Houston Texans, Zach Ertz, TE, Stanford. Give the passing game of the Houston Texans an added threat, and also help prepare for the departure of Owen Daniels, who keeps getting hurt. Number 28, Denver Broncos, Demontre Moore, defensive end, Texas A&M, replace Elvis Dumervil. Number 29, New England Patriots, Desmond Trufant, cornerback, Washington. You never know what the Patriots do in their secondary, so maybe they try to lock something up here. Number 30, Atlanta Falcons, Jonathan Banks, cornerback, Mississippi State. This was a guy I thought was going to go in the top 10 at one point, so he's fallen, but he's still a good player. Number 31, San Francisco 49ers, Tyler Eifert, tight end, Notre Dame, replaced Delaney Walker and allowed the Niners to keep doing their dangerous two tight end sets. Finally, Baltimore Ravens at number 32, Robert Woods, wide receiver, USC, replace Anquan Boldin. I think there could be a lot of trades in the first round tomorrow. I think the Chargers are really going to want to try to move up. I think the Jets are going to try to move down. They might even try to package both their first round picks to move up if they really like one of the offensive tackles. I think the Jaguars and Raiders are two teams that might want to trade down. I could see the Eagles trading up or down. I think there's a lot of potential for movement in this first round. So I'm excited. You should all be excited. It's tomorrow's the start of an opportunity for every team in this league to try to improve themselves. And yeah, it's exciting times for all fans of all teams in the NFL. So that's my mock. See you later.